Alright, welcome to Adventures in Astrology, Volume 1 with Lee B. We're going to be talking about the houses system, in particular the first house. Astrology, your chart is a circle, and it's broken down as a circle of life. And it's broken down into 12 different pieces, representing the 12 different aspects or facets of your life. Today we're going to be talking about, this isn't going to be exactly the scale, obviously. Not the artist here, am I? Today, to talk about the first house, known as the first house of self, or the first house of identity or self-interest. Okay? Planets that are here in the first house are going to be larger than life. They're going to be particularly felt stronger than they would be for other people. For example, you hear about Mercury retrograde or these different, depending on how much you're into astrology, these different transits and other things going on in your chart. You're going to feel this a lot more stronger than anything else in your chart if you have any of your planets in the first house, because it represents your identity. You associate that planet's archetype with who you are as a person more readily than the other planets. The energy talks to you more, the archetype energy. Anyhow, let's move on. We'll talk about the two luminaries, the sun and the moon. The sun obviously creates light. It casts a spotlight into the practical effect is to cast a spotlight into whatever house it's in. So the sun in the first house casts a spotlight into the first house. It means that if you have your sun in the first house, your activities of your you're not going to stray very far from aspects of your own identity and how other people and other things relate to you as a person. Okay? The sun also shows us the predominant features of the soul or higher self as it's being conveyed through the incarnating personality that you're currently living. So these higher traits of soul or higher self. And part of that job is always going to be, or part of the challenge or whatnot have you, is always going to be uncovering those traits that have been lost in that sense when we come into this next life, the life that we're living in now. So we're going to uncover the traits associated with that sun sign, and we're going to learn to minimize the ones that are negative and more hurtful or harming to us. Manage the negative vibrations of the traits, For example, Virgo's negative traits is being hypercritical, nitpicky, criticizing other people. Those would be the negative traits, When you have the sun in the first house, of course, you always have to look at your whole natal chart and everything in it, but one of the general themes of sun in first house is the breaking down of and reversing of ego, okay? As the sun sheds a spotlight on ego, we learn through the law of attraction that we're going to be set with a series of reversals. If you have the sun in the first house, you often have a series of reversals to change your ego, okay? This is like emotional reversals. You could keep having friends that things don't work out with your friends, don't work with loved ones. Monetary reversals, losing jobs, losing homes, losing cars. Health reversals, your health is constantly weak and fragile. Other people's health are weak and fragile. Mental health, possibly. There's a variety of those. The nature in which the fact that you're having a theme of those reversals shows you and highlights what you would want to change within yourself, because the reversals of the ego, okay, are showing what we need to change within ourselves to bring back out these positive traits. So that's why we'll keep encountering, when we have sun in first house, these reversals, because we're trying to bring out these positive traits, okay? We know that one of the other things that is themes that runs really high in sun in first house is the sense to make a whole self, make oneself whole, okay? Now what this means is a variety of different jobs, practical wise, and occupations a person will go through as they learn different skills, different traits, different things associated with learning those different roles, you know. So lots of jobs, roles to learn traits, so they can make themselves a more well-rounded person. Let's go ahead. We'll talk about the moon, our other luminary in the first house here. If you have the moon, it happens to be in first house for you. The moon is a reflection of the sun. It helps to show us what's pretty much the nurture, what we pick up from the home, and 0 to 8 age range, about, you know, approximately. It's not always what we pick up on Earth, but it's primarily what we pick up on Earth. Okay. When we have the moon, since it's a reflection of the sun, instead of strengthening the image of the ego, like the sun in the first house does, the moon in the first house weakens the ego, weakens the image. Similar in a way that the law of vibration works off the sun, and the reversals in the sun keep giving us the opportunity to change who we are as our ego. You know, we keep having these reversals of health and or economics or emotions or mental health. It keeps getting us to question and look at our ego and look at our identity. In some sense here, by having this weakened mirror image of your own identity here, you also have an opportunity to do so, okay? But what will happen is it'll be from the weakening of the ego will lead to a different type of thing, where you could run into people that are making you feel inadequate. You could feel that way yourself, perhaps unworthy. There could just be things in your life that highlights these themes, even if you yourself don't feel them personally. Maybe other people in your life, and you're aware of this theme. Okay. Now, this theme is to push you down into seeing that your divine worth is not based on external accomplishments, okay, or material things. Not based off external accomplishments. Now, like I said, these are general themes. The sun, the moon, the first house. We always look at a total chart and all the aspects and the individual details before I, flat out would come around and say this if I was doing a reading for you. These are just general themes that tend to come into play in the first and the second house for our sun and the moon, okay? Anyhow, we're going to see that acknowledgement as worthiness as a child of God, Goddess, the universe, however you see the divine, is the way out for individuals commonly with this placement of the moon in the first house, okay? There's lives previous, a string of lives, often, of lives where your personality is very strong. It's very strong, and it's too strong, in a sense, to look at life and things differently, including yourself and other people, and your worth and other people's worth. So this and moon in the first house, if you have this type of thing, typically gives you the opportunity to look at life differently by weakening your ego that you came in with, okay? This weakened ego gives you an opportunity to look at life differently, all right? By seeing the compassion for yourself and others, and being able to see that you are worthy, and it's not based on external accomplishments or material things. And so that would be part of one of the challenges for moon in first house, and of course we've talked about some of the common challenges for sun in first house. Anyhow, there's all sorts of other things to talk about the first house. We just went ahead and talked about the sun and the moon today. I hope you had a great time. I had a great time. Ventures Numerology. If you like the video, please like the video. If you comment, if you want to comment on the video, got a question, maybe you just want to give a shout out. My Aries people can kind of give me a shout out. Aries does rule the first house. So there's Aries traits are present in the first house. You go ahead and give us a shout out too, okay? And everybody have a great day.